Okay, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakat, Kodash. Double honours to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who teacheth the Bible 100% truth. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes of Israel, especially the 144,000, consisting of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in the land of the Americas, as well as the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners living amongst the other nations. Shalom to you. Okay, today I've got a video to show you, and in the last week or so we've seen a couple of weeks we've seen a lot of civil unrest taking place in the UK. You've been following the story. There was it 2 or 3 girls were stabbed in Stockport, and then since then you've had protesting. You had far right English people protesting for the rights of so-called English people, and then you've had counter protests with the rest of the nation counter protesting against what they're standing for. So it's been made quite clear. There's a lot of videos that have gone out over the last week or so. What's happening? Division is being created. We're heading towards this new world order, a one world, and one world would be a world created without borders. And when you look around what's happening, the borders are being collapsed, and then people's countries, if you like, are being flooded, and then that's having a massive adverse reaction with the population, the people within those countries. And then in turn, now we have a lot of civil unrest. You have the same thing happening in Babylon the Great, America, the USA, and the same things happening in the UK. And this is all part of the plan, order out of chaos. Like I say, there's many things that have gone out over the last week or so, many videos explaining the secret agendas behind the incidents that you're seeing playing out in the news. Hegelian dialect, pressure from above, pressure from below, and that's something I spoke about, I believe in the previous video. Now I did mention one particular person, that's Tommy Robinson, and that's who I'm going to focus on today. But before I get into that, this is the book of 1 Peter chapter 5. It's entitled here, Serve the Most High Willingly. It says here, the elders which are among you I exhort, who am also an elder and a witness of the sufferings of the anointed. The word Christ just means the anointed. In the Hebrew that would be Hamashiach. In the Greek that would be Christ or Christos. Now they've put the word Christ there with a capital C as if it would to imply that was part of the name of the anointed one, which it's not. So the anointed one's name is not Mr. Christ, even though it's written here with a capital. It just means anointed. And a witness to the sufferings of the anointed, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed. It says here, feed the flock of the Most High which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. So teach the understanding of the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, but don't be doing it for money. Don't be doing it through constraint because you have to. You should be doing this willingly. It says, neither as being lords over the Most High's heritage. The word lords being superior, or masters. More like superiors. Neither as being superiors over the Most High's heritage, but being ensamples to the flock. So not only are you supposed to teach, but you're obviously also supposed to practice what you preach, so to speak. It says, and when the chief shepherd shall appear, which is Yahweh Shai, ye shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away. Likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto an elder. It says, yea, all of you be subject to one another, and be clothed with humility, for the Most High resisteth the proud, and giveth grace to the humble. It says, humble yourselves therefore under the mighty hand of the Most High, that he may exalt you in due time. casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Verse 8, this is the point I wanted to get to, says here, be sober, be vigilant. So this is part of this important message. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. I'll come back to that in a second. It says here, whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. But the Most High of all grace, who hath called us unto his eternal glory, by the anointed Yahweh Shai, that word Jesus doesn't belong to a particular language, and the letter J did not come about till 1524. So, we definitely know that was not the name of the anointed who came 2,000 years ago. It says, and after that, ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you. And then it says, to him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. But verse 8, it says here, to be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, so the one that is opposed to you, and what are you? You're following the understanding of the scriptures, you're calling on the name Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. You hope to be one of the members of the elect, and you believe you're going in the right steps to do that. And then your adversary will be the one who is opposed to you, the one who is against you, against that particular way that you want to be. It says here, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Now, a lion, when it arrives, it will find something, it will find a prey, it will stalk it out, it will do what it has to do, it will go into hunting mode, and it wants to devour its victims. And this is the same way in which the devil does that. The spiritual demon, Satan, the adversary, and in particular he works, that spirit, is sent forth by the Most High Yahweh, and it works through the nation of Edom, the people in charge today. And within that nation, there is a particular group of people, Edomites, known as Amalekites. And we call them small hats. And, they are part of that lion, that Edomite lion that is looking to devour us. So, from that, leading on from that to this is a link I'm going to leave for this video in the description box. And now this goes into Tommy Robinson. And when you look at the riots that have been taking place in the UK, like I say, you've got this English, far right side, if you like, far right English nationals who are looking to stand up for the rights of the Englishman, so to speak. And they come out, they call against Muslims and immigration coming into the country, and they speak about how it's spoiling their particular society. And at the front of that within the UK is this particular person here, Tommy Robinson. And now Tommy Robinson, started off through that, I think it was the British National Party, which was basically skinheads with the swastika. I want to be careful with what words I use. And he came through that particular line of people. Come to find out, he's really a small hat, and he actually also works for the small hats. And so, the small hats are trying to create a divide. They're trying to create an issue with Muslims, Islam around the world, and that kind of justifies, for example, the war that's going on in Gaza, and it leads on to many other things. This all goes in line with the banking elite's agenda to collapse society, order out of chaos. It then gives them the reason to throw at you digital ID. Why do you need digital ID? Because the borders, we've lost control of the borders. There's violence in the streets, people are rioting, and we need to take control, take order. So they'll give you a digital identification eventually. And Revelation chapter 13 clearly tells you that the digital identity will be given to you through incision in the skin, a device placed under the skin, track and trace digital identification, which you will then also be using to buy and sell. But we reel it backwards a little bit, so we come back to now, the plan that's happening now, the order out of chaos, the situation in the UK, and a lot of it has been fueled by fake news, social media news, people getting riled up through, if you like, sedition. What Tommy Robinson is accused of, I believe he's even been to jail. I don't know what actual charge he was given to when he went to jail, but one way you could phrase it is sedition, because he's speaking up against the governments, against the powers that be. He's riling up people to want to protest and cause violence because of what the governments are doing. So you say this man is against the governments. Oh yeah, they pretty much put him in jail for sedition. Yeah, but he's a small hat. He's what is called controlled opposition. He's paid to go in there and to do this, and to go through this particular process. You go through this video, it even explains the type of figures he's earning, and who's supplying it, who's backing him with that paperwork. So we know the small hats. I've got to be careful what I say, but we know that our code word for them are small hats. We know they run the media. We know they run the banks, and the banks are the ones that are going to usher in the global collapse, the institution of the MOTB. They're going to bring about this third world war, and who's on the tip of that, on the front line? It's the small hats, Bibi Netanyahu. Problem with the Muslims, and that same problem is spread over to the UK. And we've got a borderless society. Immigrants are on the loose everywhere. Nobody can keep control. This is all leading us to the MOTB. And the other thing about Tommy Robinson, they mentioned another lady called Katie Hopkins. She was responsible for stirring up the riots a couple of weeks ago. There's other people out there. There's politicians. Nigel Farage is one. Elon Musk. What do these people all do in this particular scenario? They use social media to air their opinions. Now, in this world that they have a tight hold on agendas, and who's, if you like, who's allowed certain rights, who's allowed to speak certain, so on and so forth. You have a thing called free speech, and the powers that be, they want to clamp down on social media. The reason being is because very soon, with all these changes that are taking place, these drastic events that are going to be happening, people like ourselves, the ones that come at you in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, we expose the events, the plans of these elites and the events that are coming up. You have other people around the world who deal with individual scenarios. Maybe they're not calling on Yahweh Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, they're not involved in this truth, yet they expose information. So, a lot of that comes through social media. Things like YouTube, they already try to restrict the language that you use. However, we come across with code language, so we're still able to get our message out. And they're aware of this, so they want to restrict the message. Scriptures talk about, a famine of hearing the word. And so, eventually when things start to become very drastic, as they're heading towards that direction now, we're in the beginning of sorrows, as they become more drastic, there's going to be more need for the powers that be to control what's said online. So we're heading in that direction. The civil unrest, the implementation of the MOTB, the restriction of free speech on social media. These are all common things. These are things we know. Like I say, lots of videos, lots of information is coming out. In the last couple of weeks, for example, especially with this topic. But I want you to kind of see, this person, Tommy Robinson. I've mentioned him before. I want you to see who's funding him. I want you to see Katie Hopkins, what her role was in the riots, and then you'll understand. The description of what Tony Robinson is controlled opposition. So, I'd advise to watch it. It's only about 10 minutes, and it's quite good to understand who Tommy Robinson is, what he represents. And if your eyes are open, you'll understand that this is designed order out of chaos. He has been sent by the small hats to do a job, the same way that Christopher Columbus was sent, to the Americas. Christopher Colon, he adopted a new name, Christopher Columbus. Sorry, I believe I said Christopher Colon. His name was Cristobal Colon. That's his original name, Cristobal Colon. And he adopted the name Christopher Columbus. He adopted a new religion. He was a crypto small hat, but he had adopted the religion of Christianity. Went over there, for his handlers, and went over there and waged war and took over the land. And so the modern day version of that is Tommy Robinson. But you can't just go over to a land with a sword and take it over anymore. So they set you up within society to speak, to raise up people. Yeah, you're going against the governments, but you may have to do a year or so in jail here and there, but we're going to pay you handsomely, and this leads us into the direction we want. We want to collapse the system to implement a new one, the MOTB, the device under the skin, track and trace digital device in order to buy and sell. So before I go quickly back to the scriptures, that's why Peter tells you to be sober, to be vigilant. This is Apostle Paul, this is Ephesians, obviously an epistle to the church of Ephesus. However, it applies to all of us now. And it's entitled, from verse 10, it's entitled The Armour of the Most High. And verse 10 says, "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might." It says here, "Put on the whole armour of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil." Now that word wiles goes back to, the cunningness of the devil. So the devil is walking about you, like a lion, ready to devour, as spoken of in the first book of Peter, chapter 5. But he doesn't just gonna jump out like a lion would and just eat you straight up. This lion has, he's walking about you like a lion would, picking out his prey. This is why I always talk about Al-Shaja, the demons, the spirits. If you don't understand that spiritual world and how it's interacting with the world you're in and how it's affecting it, then you're completely lost, because you're like a blind man in the dark. Yeah, you're going around the world, you're seeing things, you're dealing with people, you have experiences. But if you have no idea why these experiences are occurring, you have the secret. You have the secret of the Most High. He showed you, look, I am Al-Shaja. I have that demon-like power. I put it on these people. I control them. If you can't understand that and you take no note of it, then you're just as lost as anybody in the world. You have to understand. So this spiritual demon and the devil, he jumps on these Edomites in a physical, and then they act out things physically. But the devil also walks around you. The spirits, they come around you, they try and get into your mind, try to give you thoughts. And this devil, he has a cunningness about him. And so that goes into the fact that he's like a lion. He's out there searching for his prey, ready to devour, but he does it with cunningness. He doesn't just come out and jump out and bite you in the neck and just pull you down. You're over and dead in 2 seconds. He comes with cunning tricks. So you have to be sober, you have to be vigilant, and ready, watching, keep your eyes open. It says here, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." And so that's why I'm keep telling you. So I always keep going on about Al-Shaja, demon-like power. You pull up at the traffic lights, and there's a guy next to you, pulls down his window, screaming abusive language at you. The first thing that comes to my brain is Al-Shaja. You've put a demon on this guy. Now, is it something that I can just ignore, just roll my window up, ignore him, and just drive off, or is there a message in there for me? And this is what you then have to decipher. When you start looking things at that level, you start getting a deeper understanding. And when different people keep telling you the same thing, but you don't like hearing it, and you've heard it from this person, and the next day you heard it from that person, and the next day you heard it from this person, and even though it's annoying you, you then have to ask yourself, is the Most High trying to tell me something? Because he has that ala shaja power. He puts, these messages come from high places, not just, the righteous ones as well as the ones from the devil. It says here, for we wrestle not against flesh or blood, flesh and blood. So, you go out there, for example, against Tommy Robinson, you stand up to him, you try and fight him. This is what a lot of these Israelites do. They come across, like for people that want to debate. When you're debating, you're talking to someone who's clearly not going to get it. But to repeatedly be going on and on and on, you're fighting against the flesh and blood of this person. You've totally forgotten that he's controlled by a higher power, against the principality, against the powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high place. So here you are standing, looking at this guy, getting upset, thinking, why can't he get it? Now he's calling you names. Now you want to punch him up. Your brain is on a flesh and blood level. Apostle Paul's telling you, for we wrestle not against the flesh and blood, but against the wickedness in high places. That's why, you get into situations, you check yourself, you look at what the people are saying, you say, well, are they saying it because of this? Are they saying it because of that? Is there a spirit on them? Or have I just bumped into a bunch of demons? That's also possible. You can just go somewhere, bump into a bunch of demons. The scriptures tell you to be, wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. So, if you're wise, you're going to see a scenario, you're going to avoid it. If you go over there, yes, you have the Holy Spirit to protect you, but you've just put yourself in trouble for nothing. So now you have to go through this drama, this situation. You ultimately you got to remember that these spirits have been put on these people. That's why they're demons. Then you have to kind of work your way out of it and avoid it. There are, like I say, sometimes you just come across people who are just demons for the sake of it. But a lot of the time, there's messages out there for you. The Most High gives you messages through people. You got a guy, coming at you, and you're getting angry with him. You're thinking, why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? Then it's going around your head for a couple of days, and then you realize there's precepts that relate to it. Here comes the Holy Spirit in your mind to make you understand the precepts, and therein lies the comforter. Then you realize, this is why you're being wicked, because you're just repeating what this person did in the scriptures. It's just the Most High's way of testing me, so I'm going to stop worrying about it. I'm going to put it to the back of my mind, forget about it. I'm going to let the Most High take control. He'll either deliver me from that or not. So, you got to kind of you got to be living in two different worlds when you're dealing with situations, because you have two different sets of knowledge. You have the knowledge of the world. You have all the equations. You have all the mathematical answers to the things that happen in the world. You can get them off Esau, but then you have to also live in the spiritual world and understand why is the spiritual world affecting the world I'm seeing in that particular way. Is there a message for me, or is it just part of prophecy, so on and so forth? It says, wherefore take unto you the whole armour of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, having done all to stand. To stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. And that's what we have. We don't get involved with Tommy Robinson. We don't fight against him. We don't fight for him. We don't really care who's winning, or who it looks like, who's on top, or whatever. We just want prophecy to come to pass, and we understand the truth. So knowing that, it helps us to make our clear decisions in amongst all the madness. You think the world's full of madness. There's a lot of madness going on right now, and it's going to get worse. And a lot of people out there that don't know this truth, they get roped into it, they get caught up, their mind gets taken into all these different directions, and again, these people become lost. It says, and it goes on to say, Ephesians 6:15, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Now your feet do what? They help you to keep it moving. They also help you to go in the direction you want to go. So when you're keeping it moving, and decisions come in your life, and you've either got to make a decision: am I going in this direction or am I going in that direction? And the bottom line is, prepare yourself with the gospel of peace. Move in the way that the scriptures tell you. Understand the things that we've been told. We've been told to be sober, be vigilant, especially now. We're so close to the destruction, all these troubles. The Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai is about to turn this world upside down on its head. The whole of it, the infrastructure, we're seeing things starting to crumble and fall apart. We're seeing relationships break up, people fall apart. Relationships in people on the street, civil unrest, relationships when it comes to a national level, when it comes to war. We know this economic crash is only minutes away. So it's all about to get real bad, real hectic, and throughout that time it can be confusing. There's a lot of things going on, and the bottom line is to remember what these scriptures have told you. Be sober, be vigilant, be aware that the devil is ready to devour. He has wiles, he has cunningness, he has plans, and he has tricks, paid opposition, and so on and so forth. So when you keep it moving, or you choose, make your decisions, you decide which direction you're heading in, make sure you do it through the understanding of the scriptures, remembering that you're not fighting against flesh or blood, you're fighting against the spirit. To a certain degree, you're going to defend yourself. If somebody comes to you and is going to attack you, you're going to have to defend yourself. That's the way it is. But bottom line, you got to look at why certain things are happening around you. Why is there's going to be a lot of wickedness, a lot of evil, a lot of death, a lot of people struggling. It brings on a lot of emotional distress from people, and you're going to see all that around you, especially those in America, in Babylon the Great. The Most High is really going to do a number on those Babylonians, and so you're going to see this happening all around you. You have to be able to brush it off. Remember that spirit world, remember what's controlling all this, and remember that you've got the chance to escape all that. So I'm going to leave it right there, but like I say, I'll leave the link in the description box for that particular video. Please watch it. It's quite interesting to understand. It's just like what we tell you all along. We pull out these bits of information all along. Paid opposition, Tony Robinson is just another one of those. So, or controlled opposition, should I say. So with that, I'm going to leave it right there. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Kwadash. And till next time, Shalom.